Okay, so I originally had a bigger video in mind to start the channel with, but I think it might take longer than I expected, so why not make a shorter unscripted video to start the channel with. In this video I will complete 3 Death Battle opinion formats. Basically the formats would ask me for matchups that fall in a specific category in my opinion, and I'll answer the formats and talk a bit about each matchup I went with. Before we start, I hope you all remember that these are my personal opinions. We probably have different takes and that's fine. So please respect my opinion, and if you disagree you could just tell me in the comments and I will respond to the criticism respectfully. As long as you're not being a cunt about it. Okay, so enough of that, let's jump into the first format, which is made by myself. Let's start with my most wanted matchup, which might be a hot take and I know why people would disagree with me. But my most wanted matchup is Steve vs John C. I really find this matchup amazing with incredible potential. Today I won't talk about the possibles because if I would the video would just be too long. But in short, I think the fight would be amazing. And I have a really big attachment to both games, to seeing them clash together would be great. Of course the biggest problem with the matchup is people not taking Fortnite seriously. In my opinion Fortnite is a great game that got ruined for most people because of the community. Which I mean, hey, is not the game's fault that toxic and horrible people jumped into it, and the Minecraft community also has his own shit. So saying Fortnite shouldn't be in Death Battle because of the community is like saying Undertale and Steven Universe shouldn't be in. The second problem is that the matchup is a big storm. You could put John C in the matchup in one of 3 ways. 2 out of them would have John C stomping Steve to dust. The third one I like to assume is fair, though I'm not sure. The third problem is Terrarian vs Steve, which is the more popular matchup for Steve. I have no problems with Terraria except for some personal shit, and this might be the biggest problem, but in my opinion I still prefer John C vs Steve even if is an unlikely storm. Next is the slot of a character I want to see on the show. There are a lot of characters I want to see on Death Battle, either because of the potential, or because I'm interested in seeing them, or just because I like the characters. But I would give that slot to Cat Noir since he falls in all of these categories. I don't really have anything else to say about this slot really. So let's just move on to the next slot. My most wanted franchise on Death Battle. I would say I want more One Punch Man, but since my intentions when making that slot was to pick a new franchise, I guess I'll go with Ninjago. Since I could see a lot of potential with each character and their weapons and abilities. I just hope they don't put them against Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Avatar, since that would be pretty lazy. I would also say that I want to see the Dragon Prince on the show, since the show is pretty interesting and I would love to see an analysis on it. My favorite Dragon Prince matchup is Blake vs Rayla, since it has a lot of great potential, though I would admit it would kinda be a lame repeat of Blake vs Mikasa, so I guess have this as a DBX instead. The next slot is about a matchup I find overrated. I chose Diet Clayface vs Sandman. Is not the most boring matchup ever, but it still makes me sleep. And I don't think the clash of personalities would be fun in the slightest. Is just a really boring matchup in my opinion. Next is the slot of an underrated matchup. Before I tell you what I chose, I want to tell you that my original pick for the most wanted slot wasn't Adrian. It was actually Sally Acorn. I really like her as a character, though not as much as the Chadley Black Noir, though I want her in Death Battle more than him. That being said, I think that Zelda vs Sally is a pretty underrated matchup. To be fair, I only knew about it recently, but I still really want people to talk about it. And plus having Zelda for another episode would be great. Seeing how Link and Ganon's comebacks were 2 of the best episodes in the entire show. The connections between these 2 are princesses of their world's kingdoms, who were at war with invading forces that said kingdoms are at war with, where both have lead command of armies in battle to fight against said forces, which included the main hero. However, during the story both of them were captured by them and they were manipulated as puppets against the heroes. Full stop. Furthermore, both have shown to have training in swordsmanship and both of their arsenals have the abilities to create constructs in battle. Not the most thematic, but is good enough in my opinion. The fight has a lot of potential. We could have a really fast-paced hand-to-hand fight between Sheik and Sally, maybe even let them use their blades. And at first Sally would defeat Zelda as Sheik, but then Zelda starts using her magic and that's when the fight gets really dangerous for both. I really love this matchup, and I want it to be more popular, but I think I've spent enough time on it. So let's just move on. Next up is my most wanted Battle Royale slot. There isn't that many Battle Royales that interest me, but the Sonic Battle Royale is an exception. This matchup has way more potential than any Battle Royale I know of. Even the Stickman Battle Royale. I see a lot of debate about the lineup, but in my opinion my ideal lineup is Modern, Classic, Boom, Movie, and Adventures, or X if you want to call him that. I see some people wanting to add literally every version of Sonic, and I see others wanting to replace Adventures with Archie. In my opinion adding Archie would be pretty cringe, since his powers and abilities are a bit different from other Sonics, and because the other Sonics stand no chance against him. But I think I talked enough about the lineup. Back to what I was saying. Yes, I think this has more potential than any other Battle Royale. You could have the fight take place in a city and Green Hill at the same time thanks to movies Ring Portal. You could have Classic and Boom get into a fist fight since both have fought hand to hand with enemies in the past. Have Modern and Movie get into a fast-paced fight with spin dashing left and right. Heck, even have Boom and Movie get into a fight while the other three Sonics are fighting with their super forms. Though I doubt Movie wouldn't get a super form in the second movie. And the track could also be great since Sonic music is some of the best tracks in all of gaming. Just so much potential and I love it. Next up is the slot for a matchup I hate while everyone loves. This is a hard one for me since most popular matchups are either matchups I don't care for, or matchups I really want. So choosing one that I hate isn't easy. But I guess I'll go with SpongeBob vs Gumball. I don't see this matchup getting that much love lately, but I think is the best choice for this slot. Simply put, the matchup is dumb and both characters shouldn't be in death battle. Unless if is a gag fight. I don't see how it would work. And the debate would probably be on the multiversal scaling from what I heard. In my opinion, if multiversal SpongeBob was a person, he would probably be a pedophile. So fuck no. And I don't even see the matchup being interesting. It doesn't even have any potential in my opinion. Honestly, if you really want a SpongeBob matchup, just stick with Pinkie Pie. After that we have the opposite. A matchup I like but everyone hates. I chose Kirito vs Mega Man EXE. I don't know much about Kirito, but from what I know this has a lot of potential. I would admit when I started thinking about this matchup I just wanted a way to kill Kirito. But now I just like it without the spite. I still don't know much about Kirito, so maybe I'm wrong. I'll just move on. Okay, now we have the last slot in this format. My most wanted remake. In my opinion there is a few episodes I wish would get a remake, but none of them are on the same level of Ryu vs Strider. A remake for Ryu vs Strider is probably my second most wanted episode ever. Because the original is one of my favorite episodes of the show. I want it in 3D. And it has a lot of potential. You could have a really cool track similar to Shreddering Silver but with more variety. And the fight could be fast-paced and brutal. And both could use their arsenals and material in combat just like the old one. The death could be simple but the delivery could make it memorable. Just thinking about it makes me jump because of how much cool it would be. Okay, I think that's enough for now. The video is already long enough. I will complete the 2 other formats in another day. I have a lot of ideas for this channel and I want to thank you for watching till the end. And I hope you had a good time watching the video. But I'll go for now. See ya later.